welcome to the Cop Table podcast, where tonight we are previewing the Cardiff versus Liverpool game this coming Sunday afternoon. Joining me once again for the Reds, we have Jay Riley. You can catch Jay on the Radio City Fan Friday talk show, now regular with us on the Cop Table. So, how are you, Jay?
Yeah, not too bad, Peter. Looking forward to the weekend's game, and it was just fantastic, wasn't it, to get through the Champions League to the semi-finals. Now looking forward to the Barcelona games, and it could be a massive end to this season for Liverpool.
Most definitely, yeah. Unfortunately, we have not got any Cardiff representative with us this evening. Beth, who done our last podcast, was unfortunately not available to join us this evening. So myself or Jay will also cover the things from a perspective, talk a little bit about their battle for relegation and things like that we'll go through this evening. So we're going to start off looking back, Jay, at our last Premier League fixture, which was the Chelsea game at Anfield last Sunday. I thought it was a little bit of a cagey first half, not many chances created, probably a little bit slow with our play, but second half I thought we exploded into life. I thought totally different, much better, and two fantastic goals. So just give us your thoughts on the performance against Chelsea, please, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Chelsea game went pretty much as I expected. I mean, going into the game, quite a few people were expecting Liverpool to just turn them over convincingly and quite easily, and I certainly didn't think that would be the case at all. And I did say that on the previous podcast that, let's get real about this. Chelsea are a very good side and they've got some very good players. And of course, at times this season, they've looked a little bit, suspect, shall we say, and they got a hiding off Manchester City. But, I think in general, Chelsea probably are the third best team in the Premier League. It's certainly a toss-up between them and Spurs, and I fully expect Chelsea and Spurs to get the remaining Champions League spots this season. So I was expecting a tough game, and Liverpool hadn't beaten them since 2012 at Anfield, and I think it was like the last 5 or 6 times we played them as well, we hadn't beaten them. So it was always going to be a tough game because they're a little bit of a bogey team to us, and so the first half proved, really. I thought it was a very close, cagey encounter, and we never really looked like scoring, did we? And it was getting to the stage, certainly when it got to half-time. I seen Chris Pajak from the Redmond TV at half-time on a concourse in the Cop, and I said to him, I hate these type of games, and I was pretty nervous about it, and he was himself, do you know what I mean? We've got a massive modern-day rivalry with Chelsea, haven't we? I mean, the two biggest rivals we would probably say United and Everton, but Chelsea are certainly up there as well, and they were doing a number on us, I thought. They took the sting out the game. The atmosphere was great to start with, but then we sort of sunk a little bit into our shell a bit, I thought, in terms of atmosphere, and at the back end of the first half, because I think tension crept in a little bit on the terraces, on the Cop, certainly, and when we went in 0-0 at half time, you were just hoping and praying for a little break in the second half. We knew we'd create opportunities, pushing for the win, because that's all Liverpool can do now, is win these games. And, it was just like a little mini blitz, wasn't it? A fantastic play it's great football, really. People haven't given Firmino the credit for his little flick into the path of Salah, and Salah worked really hard, didn't he? And then the ball came to Jordan Henderson, who fantastic, his new role that he's getting now, running the side. I mean, I know he came off the bench in midweek against Porto, but he's playing in a more advanced role now, and a fantastic ball across, and there was Sadio Mane to carry on his fantastic goal scoring streak and head the ball home, and obviously it was relief as well as, celebrations were fantastic, but it was more relief than anything else, because we know we've got to win every single game. We can't afford to draw a game of football now in these last remaining games, and it was relief to get that first goal. And then, obviously the atmosphere was fantastic, then it was electric, and then bang, all of a sudden Mo Salah steps up, and what a fantastic strike it was, and like an arrow in the top corner, the goalkeeper Kepa had absolutely no chance, and it was 2-0, pandemonium in the Cop, and the whole ground, really. The atmosphere was tremendous. The Mo Salah song was getting fantastic, all round the ground, and then you heard the LA song, and it was just amazing scenes, really. It just felt so good. But then we had a little spell, didn't we, where we switched off, and Chelsea had a 10-minute spell where they could have easily got back into the game. If, in fact, Hazard had two fantastic opportunities. One where he hit the post, and the second one where he just missed it really straight at Alisson. And you know, on another day he could have scored two there, and it could have been a total different story. And Chelsea only really started having a goal rush because in the first half it was cagey, but they were containing us with ease, really. In the second half, obviously, when they knew they had to come out and play a little bit more when they were 2-0 down, I thought they looked very, very dangerous, to be honest. And, that just shows you what they are capable of. But, you'd always had that thought that Liverpool may well have got a third on the break, on the counter-attack. But it didn't really matter. The job was done, wasn't it, really? When you get them two goals in such a high-profile game like that, it's very difficult then to get back into the game. And, we ended up seeing the game out, didn't we? And we won 2-0, another clean sheet for Alisson, which was great. And, a massive 3 points. And to go back top of the table was fantastic after Manchester City winning earlier on in the day against Crystal Palace, who pretty feeble, really. They didn't really make much of an effort to beat Man City. It was men against boys, really. And, yeah, I know they scored with 10 minutes to go to pull a goal back, from a free kick, the Serbian lad, to make it 2-1. But City went down the other end to wrap it up 3-1, and it was just strolling the park for them, really. But they put a little bit of pressure on us, and our game was very tough against Chelsea, but we managed to get through it. We got the 3 points, went back top of the table, and we put the pressure right back on them now. And it's important that they win that game in hand they've got, which is against Manchester United next week, and the Manchester derby, which Manchester United, as we know, are a very poor side nowadays. But with it being a Manc derby and it's at Old Trafford, who knows? They're still fighting for the top 4 place, which is not looking good for them at the moment. But even more importance on that game now that they take something from Manchester City. So here's hoping going into that game. But it was just a relief really to get the 3 points against Chelsea, because it's been a long time coming, beating them in a game of football really. But it was a vital 3 points to go back top of the table.
Yeah, excellent stuff, Jay. Spot on with that 3 points, like you say, back to the top of the table, and we keep going in the league again this weekend against Cardiff. But just got to turn our attention now to the Champions League and our game away against Porto last night. Pretty much comfortable victory, wasn't it? Although probably say the first 20-30 minutes, Alisson was probably the busiest player on the pitch. Had lots to do, done most of it with ease, and I thought he had a very good game. So just give us your thoughts on the performance against Porto, and talk a little bit about the VAR decision as well that went in our favour, should I say, please, Jay?
Well, yeah, I mean, going into the Porto game, I thought they were much improved from what they were last season. And the game at Anfield, it was 2-0 in the first half. It could easily have been 4-0. And it was a little bit frustrating that the game only ended 2-0 because the tie wasn't totally out of sight. And you did get the impression that Porto fancied themselves a little bit, because they had a couple of chances at Anfield in the second half, and food for thought going over to Porto. They were always going to try and bombard us early on to get an early goal. And that's what they attempted to do, really. And the forward, Marega, up front, he got into quite a lot of positions where he was free to have opportunities at goal, shall we say, but they were all half chances really, and he seemed to scuff his efforts and miss hit things. He wasn't really clinical enough, and it was quite remarkable that they'd actually had in the first 20 minutes 13 shots to Liverpool's none. It was incredible really, and on our very first effort on goal we ended up scoring. Now, to the naked eye, it looked like it was offside. He looked like he was miles offside, Mane. But obviously it went to the VAR check, and absolutely unbelievable spot, really, by the officials to get that right. Because even at a VAR stage, you would have just thought straight away he's miles offside. So what are you even checking it for? And it just goes to show that sometimes it will work in your favour, and it certainly did for Liverpool, because it settled us down. Because let's be honest, they were by far and away the better team. Liverpool getting overrun in midfield. Milner and Wijnaldum were like the invisible men, and Fabinho was struggling really on his own to cope with it, because they just didn't perform well, Milner and Wijnaldum, at all in them first 20 minutes. And the defence was at 6s and 7s. They were all over the place really. And as I said before, but for poor finishing, really, Porto could have scored a goal or two in that first 20 minutes. So it was a settler really. It calmed us down a little bit, and it sort of like broke their hearts, didn't it? And then we nearly scored again just on the stroke of half time, and then second half they were obviously going to come out and have another little go, but it just wasn't the same because they knew, the tie was virtually over, and Klopp made a little bit of a system change, didn't he? And he brought Firmino on for Origi as well, and a little bit more work ethic up front, and the ball was sticking a little bit better up top because Origi didn't have the best of nights, did he? To be fair to the lads, and I just thought Liverpool on the counter-attack again, fantastic ball by Trent Alexander-Arnold and right into the path of Salah, who slotted home 2-0. It was good night, it was game over. And, they got a consolation goal through Militao, the lad who's going to Real Madrid. And, it was a header, wasn't it, from a set piece. And it was just a consolation, really. But Liverpool were in cruise control, really, the last 20 minutes of the game. And, we ended up scoring another couple of goals. Jordan Henderson came on, provided another assist for Bobby Firmino to get his head on one, and then Virgil van Dijk, the colossal, just popped up, didn't he, with a header from a corner, and it was 4-1, put a bit of a gloss on it for us, and I thought 4-1 probably did flatter us, to be fair, but, the tie was over as soon as Salah slotted, really, didn't he, in the second half on about 65 minutes, and it was just damage limitations then for Porto, and they were probably happy enough with pulling a goal back and scoring on the night. But Liverpool ran out comfortable winners 4-1 and sets up an absolute glamour tie now against Barcelona in the semi-final. And it's anybody's guess now. Will we get through that tie? It's good. It's two fantastic footballing teams. It's going to be a footballing exhibition, and may the best team win is all I can say. I mean, they've got probably the best player in the world in Lionel Messi. He's a little genius still to this day. All them years he's been doing it. Week in, week out, season in, season out. He's a genius. They've got some fantastic players as well. It's not just about Messi, but so Liverpool. And I just think, will they be able to handle Salah, Mane, and Firmino? And them answers are going to be revealed, aren't they, pretty soon? And it's just a two-legged side that's mouth-watering, really, the prospect of two fantastic teams going at it. And you can imagine there to be a lot of goals in both games, and it's whoever scores the most goals, really, will get through the tie and get to the final in Madrid. So, here's hoping it's something to look forward to in the weeks to come.
Yeah, and then we're going to carry on with the Champions League talk, Jane. We're going to talk a little bit about the decisions that was in the other game with Manchester City against Tottenham. Obviously, goals galore in that game, but there was controversy at the end where Raheem Sterling's goal was disallowed, rightly so as well for the offside. But just give us your thoughts on what you think the impact of that decision and Manchester City getting knocked out over the two legs by Tottenham and the psychological effect that it could possibly have for them going into the game at the weekend and then for the rest of the season, if you like.
It was an amazing game, wasn't it? I mean, obviously we were watching the Liverpool-Porto game, and news filtered through after 11 minutes. It was 2-2. Couldn't believe it. What's going on? Thought it was going to be a cagey game where, obviously City would have a lot of the ball and they'd probe and try and get a few goals. I mean, Tottenham are no mugs. Like, they're a very well organised, well-drilled team, aren't they? And they're always, they use the high press like Liverpool do, and they're very workman-like all across the pitch, aren't they? And Pochettino, it's his way, isn't it, to have them up for games and organised and what have you. So it came as a bit of a surprise, really, that, obviously it was 2-2 so early on, and all of a sudden 3-2 as well. But we all know Manchester City are a fantastic team. They're an absolute freak. I mean, 100 points last season. If they win every game between now and May, the next 5 games, we're at 98 points this season. They are an absolute freak of a side. But, I just couldn't believe it, the amount of goals that were scored in that game. I thought it'd be a lot tighter than that. But you have to say that, I mean, to come back from being 2-1 down and 3-1 down on aggregate, they needed basically 4 goals, another 3 goals. And to actually get the noses in front and to be 4-2 up, they'll be absolutely kicking themselves, really, that they haven't seen the game out there and maybe got another one, because, it was a strange sort of goal, wasn't it, that Llorente scored? I mean, I've seen an angle of it now. I mean, that VAR didn't pick up on, and it does actually brush off his arm and then onto sort of like his thigh and goes in, or his hip and goes in. And realistically speaking, it would have been harsh to disallow it, but the angle that VAR's looked at, it doesn't look like it's touched his arm at all, and it's gone in off his body and the goal's been allowed to stand. You probably would feel a little bit hard done by if you were a City fan. But I suppose the flip side is if you were a Spurs fan and it was disallowed, you'd have felt hard done by as well. It's a really, really difficult decision to make. And, people are saying about VAR, just it wipes out any element of doubt because a video referee's looking at it and they're getting an extra chance, aren't they? An extra, extra time, really, if you like, to make the right decision. But as we've seen in the previous rounds with PSG against Manchester United, for me, I'm still not having it that was a penalty when Dalot shot and it hit Kim Pembe, is it, the PSG centre-half. The most harsh decision you will ever see, in my opinion. He had his back turned. Yeah, okay, his arms up a little bit. He's on the edge of the box. It's not going... maybe it was arguably going on side, but I think it was going over the bar anyway. And he didn't know nothing about it, and he gave a penalty for it. It was an absolute disgrace. And on that basis alone, it's good that Manchester United have been knocked out in the next round because they shouldn't have even been in that position. They shouldn't have even been in the quarterfinals. You were very fortunate, but we can laugh about it now because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got the Manchester United job for 3 years on the back of that, which is absolutely laughable because the man's totally out of his depth. But, like I say, VAR not always conclusive for me. And that was another situation where it was a 50-50 call, even with VAR. Because, as I say, the other angle that you've seen that's been doing the rounds on social media today, it does actually brush off his arm onto his leg and goes in like a ricochet. So, very harsh, but, it's the angle that VAR made the decision on. The goal's being allowed to stand. And then, obviously, City were going to be like the Alamo, weren't they? They were obviously going to push because they needed the goal. And the manner of the way it all came about, it was just incredible, really. The 93rd minute of the game, 3 minutes into stoppage time, and Raheem Sterling, as much as we love to hate him, the lad has been absolutely sensational this season. He's been far and away Man City's best player. I mean, Aguero's been good, but Sterling's been even better for me, and that was to get a hat-trick as well. And obviously, if it was amazing scenes because it did look that was the winning goal and it got them through to the semi-finals, and you're seeing all the celebrations of the players, the fans, and obviously Pep Guardiola running down the touchline. And then it was short-lived because he's done a VAR check on him. Sergio Aguero was just marginally offside, and correct decision. And it has to... Listen, if that happens to you, it's one emotion to another, isn't it? One extreme to the other. All of a sudden, you're up thinking this is fantastic on cloud nine. You're through to the semi-finals. A last-minute winner is always good against any team. But under the circumstances, it would have been a massive boost for them. Now, all of a sudden, that decision got overruled and they're out of the Champions League. And it's the sense of complete and utter deflation. You're out on your feet. You're devastated at that. And there's no two ways about it. You are going to be completely and utterly heartbroken in that situation. But there's two ways of looking at this now. I've had quite a few people saying this to me today that the Reds have gone. How are they going to recover from that? They're going to be on the floor. I don't know. I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. It could very well be the case. They could just be that deflated that they can't get themselves up for mental fatigue. They can't get themselves up for the game on Saturday against Spurs, ironically again. And obviously the Manchester derby next week. But they could also work the other way, couldn't it? Let's get real about it. City are a fantastic team with some great players and a massive squad. And they could regroup now and refocus on basically winning the league title, because what you've got to look at is, yeah, they're in the FA Cup final, but they put that to bed. They're probably going to beat Watford in the final. So all their focus now goes on to, because they don't play that final till after the Premier League's finished. So all their focus now is on winning this Premier League title. And as Guardiola said, look, he expects Liverpool to win all of their games remaining. So the only thing City can do to stop us winning it is by winning all of their games. And they've got to look after themselves the same way as we've got to look after ourselves as well and win all our games. And what will be, will be. In terms of with City, though, you've got to look now and think the perfect revenge mission for them is to get to redeem what happens in midweek and going up to the Champions League to Tottenham, is to then play them again a couple of days later in the Premier League game, isn't it? So I don't know which way it's going to go, and there's a good shout for both ways really. That they might have, their heads might be gone, and they might not be able to recover from it. But then there is also the flip side that it might give them even more of an incentive, even more determination to win this Premier League title. So, I'm sure we're about to find out, aren't we? So they play on Saturday morning, so it's going to be an absolutely huge game. And then after that, if they do come through it, then they've got the Manchester derby soon after. So we'll see what their credentials are all about in these next upcoming games, really, because they're two massive games of football. And we'll see what they're made of, if they have got the mettle and the determination to win the Premier League title. And all Liverpool can do is basically sit back, see how they perform, and then Liverpool have got their own job to do on Easter Sunday against Cardiff. But, it's I think it's very difficult to sort of like, you can't assume they're going to fall apart now, far from it, because it could be what they need in terms of make them even more determined to win this Premier League title. But it's all going to be very interesting the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, certainly will be, Jay. And be very interesting to see how they react on Saturday. Fingers crossed it is the way that we want it to go, where they are a little bit down and Tottenham can even get a draw there would be ideal for us. And let's not forget that Tottenham are in a position where they're fighting for the Champions League places as well. So both teams have got things to be looking forward to, and both got things to play for. So continuing with the Champions League, Jay, we now face Barcelona in the next in the semi-finals. So obviously Luis Suarez, Philip Coutinho, ex-Liverpool players now plying the trade over there with Barca. So give us your thoughts on how you think we can stop the main man, Lionel Messi, and how do we get through this and feature into another Champions League final, please, Jay? Well,
for the last 13 years, 14 years, teams have tried to stop Lionel Messi, and you simply can't do it, can you? If he turns up on the night, he turns up on the night, and you just have to see what happens. I mean, if you look back to the Manchester United game at Old Trafford, I thought he'd done quite well against them, to be fair, though they did keep him fairly quiet, and Chris Smalling obviously played a part in that, didn't he? Hitting him in the face and bloody in his nose. But like I say, it's one of them. He's an absolute genius, and he's a little magician. There's what more can you say about him? I mean, some say Ronaldo's the best, some say Messi's the best. I think they're both fantastic footballers, and they're both match winners and unplayable on the day. And Messi's a couple of years younger than Ronaldo, and the thing with Messi, he's only ever really done it at Barcelona because that's the club he's always been at from a young boy, whereas Ronaldo's gone to a few different clubs and done it. And he was fantastic in Spain for Real Madrid, won 4 European Cups for Real Madrid. He also won a European Cup, didn't he, for Manchester United, whereas Messi's done all his with Barcelona. I think he's won 4 with Barcelona. So, he is a genius. There's no doubt about it. But it's not just about Lionel Messi. I mean, they've got 2 players in their team that are likely to start in the 2 legs, providing they're not injured, in Luis Suarez, who we all know, fantastic centre forwards, and Philip Coutinho, who we got £142 million for last January. So, they've got players who used to be, top players for our own club, Liverpool. So, it's not that Klopp won't know about, certainly Coutinho anyway, because he had him, didn't he, for a couple of seasons at Liverpool. So he'll know all about Coutinho. You look at the other players, like the midfield, they've got the Brazilian lad Arthur Avenue, who's done quite well for them. They've also got Rakitic and Busquets, so they're quite strong in the middle of the park. And if there's one area that Liverpool tend to struggle in a little bit, is sometimes midfield supremacy, isn't it? And Fabinho's been great, hasn't he, this season? But he's obviously going to have to be superb in these 2 games, really, because obviously Messi likes to drop deep as well and link with the midfield trio and pick the ball up from deep and, goes at players, and he creates things, doesn't he, from a deep position, really. So it's going to be tough, there's no doubt about that. And, Jordan Henderson really has stepped up, hasn't he, the last couple of weeks, and maybe it's a type of game that will suit him as well, and maybe Wijnaldum purely because of the work ethic. I'm not sure that, the new camper would suit James Milner, but, that's for Jurgen Klopp to decide. But it's certainly going to be a tough game. I just think Liverpool, I want to know how they're going to cope with our front three, because I don't think many teams in European football can handle the front three when they're on form. And they do seem to be just hitting a little bit more form, better form in the last couple of weeks. They're all getting on the score sheet, and it's going to have goals in it. As I said before, I'm expecting goals galore, really. And with the first legs away in the new camp now, as long as Liverpool score an away goal, I'd be happy. I mean, you don't want to go there and get a hide in 3 or 4. But if Liverpool do end up getting an away goal, I expect Barcelona to come to Anfield and get an away goal, by the way. So it's just pretty much a case of cancelling out their away goal that I'm expecting them to get at Anfield. But what I will say is I think Liverpool's defence is a bit better than Barcelona's. I mean, I don't think they're great at the back, and I certainly think when you analyse the game against Manchester United, United had chances against them. It was poor finishing, really, in the game at Old Trafford. In the game in the new camp, I mean, Rashford could have put them 1-0 up, Man United 1-0 up in the first minute, 40 seconds. Yeah. They had another chance soon after, and then, of course, Barcelona started to control the game then and had a lot more of the ball. And the first goal was a mistake, really, wasn't it, by Ashley Young? You wouldn't expect any Liverpool player to do a daft Cruyff turn, 30 yards from his own goal, in the new camp. It's just absolutely slit your throat, slit your wrist stuff, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? What was he doing? I mean, it was a fantastic finish by Messi, of course it was, but, it was terrible defending by Ashley Young. And the second goal was an absolute calamity by David De Gea. Went right through him. So you'd like to think Alisson wouldn't make a silly mistake like that. So when you look at the bigger picture, I mean, Coutinho's goal was fantastic. It was a great finish, wasn't it? But what I'm saying is United certainly had chances in that game, because Barcelona are going to get chances against any team they play against. But basically United had really good opportunities. And when the game was 3-0 at the very end, Alexis Sanchez had a great opportunity to score, and Ter Stegen made a fantastic save. Gordon Banks proportions, really. It was an amazing save. It wouldn't have mattered anyway, even if it had gone in, because United were already out at that stage. But what I'm trying to say is there was food for thought there in terms of real big openings that United caused them and created. And when you look at United's forwards to Liverpool's forwards, they're not bad, but they're nowhere near on the same level as what we've got, you see. So from that aspect of it all, I'd like to think Liverpool are going to score a few goals against Barcelona. There's no two ways about it. We just have to be clinical. And like I say, if we can basically get an away goal in a new camp, that'll do me, because I think we could turn it around at Anfield no matter what. People... everyone knows what Anfield does on a European night. It's absolutely incredible. It's sensational. There's nothing that compares to it. It's the best. It's simple as that. We are like the 12th man. The atmosphere will be absolutely electric. I'm sure there'll be a coach welcoming for the game as well. And whatever it is, the deficit. If there is a deficit, we are more than capable of going to New Camp and getting a result, draw, or even a victory. But if we are losing the tie and it goes back to Anfield, we are more than capable of turning anything round. We've done it in the past and we'll do it again. And we could very well have to do it against Barcelona. And I'd back us to do it, I really would, because it is like we've got a 12th man because of the fans, the crowd, the atmosphere will be incredible. And I just think there's goals there. I mean, of course I expect Barcelona to score a few as well. But I just think Liverpool will score more. And I think, this Barcelona team is certainly not as good as what it was, say, 3 years ago. When they last won the European Cup, was it 3 or 4 years ago? I think it was 4 years ago, wasn't it? They're certainly not as good as what they were back then. And you only have to look at Luis Suarez. Now, look, he's still a fantastic centre-forward. He's played 8 Champions League games this season and hasn't scored. Now, that's not to say he won't score against Liverpool over the 2 legs. He probably will now, I've said that. But my point is, he's certainly not as good as what he once was. He's certainly a striker that is past his best, shall we say, but he's still a very good player, still a very dangerous player. We all know what he's capable of. We loved him when he was a Liverpool player. He was fantastic. He's always going to give you 100%. He's a tremendous footballer. It's as simple as that. But we also know how good Phil Coutinho is as well. We dubbed him the magician. I mean, Lionel Messi's the magician, but Phil Coutinho was a magician to us fans when he was a Liverpool player. And, he's had a bit of a rough time at Barcelona, not had the best of seasons, but he's getting his game now, and we all know what he's capable of. He can produce moments of magic, and he's certainly one of them players that can turn a game. And the only thing we'll say is that Klopp knows what he's all about because he managed them for a couple of seasons, and quite a lot of our players, our squad, know what he's about as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how we cope with their star players. But, it's also going to be interesting to see how they cope with ours, because I honestly believe as a collective group of players and the team that we actually are, I think we're slightly marginally better than Barcelona. All will be revealed over the 2 legs. And like I say, if we get through, fantastic. And I'm hoping we can get to Madrid and try and win the 6th European Cup. Because, listen, if we do get through, Ajax against either Ajax or Tottenham, whoever it may be, wouldn't be an easy game. We all know how good Ajax have looked this season. They're being fearless. They've looked tremendous, really, beating Real Madrid and Juventus. And if they do manage to get through Tottenham over 2 legs, then, they can't be underestimated at all, because they've got some fantastic young players in that team. And if it was to be Tottenham, they've just beat Manchester City. They've just knocked Manchester City out over 2 legs. We all know what they're capable of doing. They're certainly one of the three or four best teams in the Premier League. We seen them a couple of weeks ago at Anfield. Second half performance, very good. They were the better team against us. We were thankful to get an own goal in injury time. So, like I say, whoever it may be in the final is going to be very tough. But, we've got a job on first and foremost to beat Barcelona. We're very, very good sides. But I just think Liverpool are capable of doing it. I just think it's our time now. Liverpool, they're all our team are all at a very good age. Whereas the Barcelona team are a little bit aged, the likes of Messi, Suarez, Piqué, or just over the age of 30 now. Liverpool are a little bit younger than that, shall we say. And I just think Liverpool might have the edge on them over 2 legs. But it's certainly going to be fantastic two-legged tie. And like I say, may the best team win.
Brilliant. Cheers, Jay. Okay, we're going to have a little look now towards our game at the weekend against Cardiff before we get into things like team lineups and score predictions. Just give us your thoughts on the threat that Liverpool are going to be posed from this Cardiff side that's third from bottom in the league, fighting against relegation and against a manager where there's no love lost from either side. Is this so? Thoughts on Cardiff this Sunday, please, Jay?
Yeah, I've always thought it could potentially be, banana skin for us. It's never going to be an easy game for me, because the way Neil Warnock is, it's obviously there's no love lost between us and him. He hates Liverpool with a passion. Back to the days of when Rafa Benitez played a weakened side because of the Champions League, and it ends up getting them relegated, and he's just never really ever let it go. And then there was a more recent thing, wasn't he, with Nathaniel Klein, where he tried to get him on loan in the January transfer window, and basically everything was meant to have been verbally agreed, and then all of a sudden at the 11th hour, Klein decided to go to Bournemouth instead, and he was absolutely furious about it. And Liverpool come into a bit of criticism from Neil Warnock, and he's a nasty piece of work, isn't he? I mean, part of me does feel a little bit sorry for Cardiff, because they've had some really rough decisions that have gone against them in recent weeks, and they do look destined to be relegated. And I know they had a fantastic result, didn't they, against Brighton in midweek, and gives them a little bit of hope and a little bit of life to try and avoid relegation. But I still think they're going to go down, and it's one of them situations, isn't it? I don't mind Cardiff, but I hate the manager. So, it'd be great if Liverpool do put one of the final nails in the coffin on Sunday, and they do go down, because they aren't a great team. They're third from bottom for a reason. They've lost arguably their best player in Sol Bamba, who's the centre half. He got a really bad injury. He's out for the rest of the season. So they were without the key man, really, who knits them together at the back. So, I mean, yeah, okay, they had a great win in midweek against Brighton in a 6-pointer, but you'd like to think Liverpool going for the title are going to have too much for them. I mean, you look at their players that they've got, the group of players, and they're not really Premier League standard footballers, are they? I mean, if they get relegated, which you fully expect them to, you can't see many Premier League teams rushing to take any of their players off them to play Premier League football next season, can you? So, with all that in mind, yeah, of course I expect the fans to be up for it and for them to create a great atmosphere. Of course I expect the players to have a little bit of fight and a bit of spirit and work ethic, because, that's what Warnock will demand, really. And it's one of the last opportunities to try and avoid relegation. So, the tails will be up from the win in midweek, but let's get real about it. Liverpool should have far too many tools for Cardiff on Sunday. There might be some scary moments. They might put us under a little bit of pressure. They might bombard us a little bit with balls into the box. They've got Morrison, I think he's the captain. He likes to throw a few long balls into the box. So he will try and cause us a few problems, and he will try and rough us up a little bit. But this Liverpool team's made of sterner stuff now than ever before, and there's no reason whatsoever why Liverpool shouldn't go there and get 3 points to be confident of maybe not necessarily a comfortable victory, but as I said on previous podcasts, it's not necessarily about winning games 3 or 4-0, playing champagne football no more. When you're at this stage of the season, it's all about getting the 3 points, and that's exactly what we're looking for on Sunday. And yeah, of course, Liverpool could put 3 or 4 past them. There's no doubt about that. If Liverpool, it's like Porto the other night. It was never a 4-1 game, but when Liverpool were in cruise control in the second half and the tie was over, put the gloss on it and we put a few more past them to make the scoreline look more emphatic. And that certainly could be similar on Sunday against Cardiff. There's no reason why not. Liverpool's man for man a fantastic team compared to what Cardiff are. So, we fully expect Liverpool to win, but it could be a little bit tricky. As I said, potential banana skin, but one that I think we'll overcome and get the 3 points in.
Spot on. Right. Okay, Jay, we're going to talk a little bit about the possible lineup for Liverpool. Usually, as we say in each podcast, that you can't second guess Jurgen Klopp. But going into the game, considering the previous midweek fixture in the Champions League, who do you see coming into the midfield now that Keita and Henderson both sat out the game against Porto, and also Bobby Firmino was a surprise player put onto the bench, and Origi started. So with them things taken into consideration, I'll just see Jurgen Klopp lining up against Cardiff. Just see him trying to freshen things up again and maybe giving another 1 or 2 players a rest. How do you see him playing this one, Jay?
Well, yeah, the 3 players that sat out the game in midweek, well, obviously Henderson and Firmino came on, didn't he? But I do think that all 3 of them will probably return to the starting lineup myself personally, because I just think that, well, it's interesting. I mean, maybe Keita might not do. Maybe Wijnaldum will keep his place. But I certainly think Milner will be swapped for Henderson. Firmino will defo start and obviously in place of Divock Origi. So yeah, I think there'll be the changes really, and the rest of them will probably stay the same. The back four will probably remain the same. Fabinho should keep his place, and the front 3 will just remain the same as well. I can't see there being too many changes, because this is still a really tough game. As I said before, the 3rd from bottom for a reason, but Liverpool has still got to get 3 points, and I'd like to think we'll play pretty much our strongest team. If he's going to make a few more changes, the likes of Joe Gomez, it was great to see him get back into a little bit of action against Porto in midweek. I can't see him starting this game, but I certainly could see him potentially starting the game against Huddersfield on the Friday night next week. And I'd expect Keita to start in that game as well, and maybe Origi might start in that one as well, the way he did in Porto. I don't know, but I think that's the type of game where there could be a few changes. But I think this Cardiff game, maybe 2 or 3 from what happens in Porto, but it'll be the players that basically were on the bench that got rested who came on the pitch in the second half. Obviously Firmino and Henderson, I'd expect them to start against Cardiff on Sunday, and it's whether or not it's Keita or Wijnaldum, the other one, but I think the rest of them will remain the same.
Yeah, be interesting to see which players come back in and who drops to the bench on Sunday afternoon. Right then, Jay, before we play the music by the unsigned band that's been in touch with us this week, going to get our score predictions. Cardiff away, you go first. Give us your thoughts and your reasons, Jay, for your score prediction.
Yeah, well, as I said before, I think Cardiff will try and put us under a little bit of pressure, and they'll probably try and bombard us a little bit with balls into the box. And he did score at Anfield earlier on the season, didn't he? So I think I get a feeling he could very well make it a little bit tricky for us on Sunday, and he could arguably score against us. So I'll give them a goal, but I just think, this Liverpool team, it's as I said before as well, it's not necessarily about champagne football, putting 4 or 5 past teams. It's all about getting the 3 points. And let's see where we are in terms of, obviously City play before us this weekend again, don't they? They play against Tottenham on the Saturday. So we'll know we could be second place going into this game against Cardiff. So it's massively important to get the 3 points. And I don't think it'll be easy, but as I said before, they're in a relegation dogfight, and there's other games for them now between now and May. They've got four games left, is it? And basically there's other games that they'll probably look at and think we've got a chance of getting a point or 3 points. And I'm sure they'll have a goal, don't get me wrong, but it's certainly a game that Liverpool should be winning. And I think we will do. And I'll give them a goal, but I just think Liverpool should have too many tools for them, going forward. And I just don't know how they're going to handle our front three. It's not many teams can handle them. So a team like Cardiff, who were obviously missing their main defender in Sol Bamba, let's get real about it. They shouldn't be able to cope with us. And Liverpool, whether or not we have more of the ball or whether or not we play on the counter-attack against them, Liverpool can be devastating at times. And let's get real about this. Cardiff, they're not a bad team, certainly at home, in the sense that they beat West Ham and Bournemouth recently at home. But they did take a couple of items off Everton 3-0 and Watford 5-0. So, Liverpool are better than Watford and they're better than Everton. But, it's simple as that. And if Liverpool turn up and perform to a level we know we're capable of doing, I can see Liverpool scoring 3 or 4. But I'll err on the side of caution a little bit, and I'll go for a 3-1 Liverpool win because, like I say, it's the type of game where we could easily put 4 or 5 past them. But I just think it might be a little bit tricky because the tails are going to be up after a win in midweek, and they're running out of games, aren't they? So, I do think they'll have a goal at us. They might cause a few little problems, mainly from set pieces. So I'll give them a goal, but I think Liverpool will score 3. So I'll say Cardiff 1, Liverpool 3.
So Jay's going with a 3-1 prediction in that game. Yeah, my thoughts are similar to what Jay's saying with our likely attackers being on the pitch and coming off a good win away at Porto. I just think, similar to what Jay is, that we'll have probably too much in attack for them. Personally, I can't really see Cardiff getting many opportunities in this game. I think we'll just be far too strong for them and have too much of the ball for them to be able to create much in our halves. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory for Liverpool in this game. And we'll see how that pans out on Sunday. Right, okay, just before we go, going to introduce the band that's been in touch with us on Twitter this week, called From August. They're based in London, class themselves as an alternative rock band, hailing from London. 3 band members, Marshall, Martha and Matt. And the song that I'm going to play for you tonight is called Funny Thing from August.
Thing to happen now, and I'm losing my mind now. A funny thing, I just make it up, 'cause I saw us on a TV screen when we were just 17. But now I'm gone and I see that it's hopeless now. I'm gone now, but now I run. Why don't we go mind.
And I'm losing my mind.
A funny thing, I just make it up.
A funny thing.
That we had something I could live for, going places, nothing special. But now I'm gone and I see that it's hopeless now.
A funny thing.
I run, why don't we go away straight to my island for a day, where we were in primary school, acting out a play. And then when I run, I want to be right there. I guess I feel the way you want me to. I guess I'm gone, like it was the first time in a while. I guess I'm gone, like it was the first time in a while. A funny thing to happen now,
Don't see me working quite this way.
and I'm losing my mind.
Primary school acting out a play.
A funny thing, I just make it up.
I want to
'Cause
be
I
right
guess you're gone and I'm losing my mind. And I'm losing my mind, my mind. Why don't we run away straight to my island for a day? We were in primary school, acting out a play. And then when I run, I want to be right there. I guess I feel the way I want to.
So that song was called Funny Thing from August. So this week we've been had a competition running with the people from the @3 Retro website, where they've been they've kindly given us a Liverpool retro jacket to give away. We've had lots of people enter the competition, and the winner that's been chosen at random today is a Twitter page called @ChryslerNeon, who we will get in touch with and get the details to pass you your replica Liverpool jersey. That's jacket, should I say, that's been worn by yourself. So that's the cop table preview of the Cardiff versus Liverpool game all done. Big thanks again to the @Liverpool online Facebook, Instagram and Twitter pages that's put all our podcasts out on their social media platforms this season. So also, keep up to date with the No More Knives campaign. The lads over there are doing great things, and also retweeting all our podcasts and vice versa. We're doing things for them this season. So thanks very much, Jay, for joining us on the podcast.
Yeah, cheers, Peter. Hopefully we'll get 3 points on Sunday against Cardiff and go back top of the table, or maybe enhance our lead at the top of the table. All we can do is live in hope, isn't it, that City do slip up, and we don't even need them to lose a game of football. A draw will do, as long as we win all 4 of our games. And it's a big ask, really, because they're a very good side, but as we've seen now, that they've been knocked out the Champions League. So let's see what they do now. Let's see how they handle this, the pressure, how they deal with it, and how they react to it. But we live in hope, and fingers crossed for 3 points on Sunday.
Great stuff. So that's the Cardiff versus Liverpool preview podcast all done. We'll join you once again next week with our next Liverpool Premier League preview podcast. Thanks everybody for listening, and goodbye.